This is a much better fish. Funny bite, really was. What is it? Is it? Greedy little boy. Welcome to another Fishing Towel Films. Back down by the river. Just had my first cast of the day. Today I'm after some chub. Let's see what happens. I'm using a link ledger. Just put a piece of bread on. Got various baits which I'll go through a bit later. But I'm hoping to see if I can find one of those nice chub that swim around in this section of the river. I'm sure I will. It's a lot colder this morning. It was about 3 degrees on the way down, so that obviously means autumn has arrived. The river's been up and down over the last few days because we've had some sort of heavy downpours of rain. So I've been checking the water level, and it's been up, it's been down, it's back down again now. And the colour's just starting to come back out again. So I'm hoping there'll be a few chub down here, hungry for a bit of grub. And hopefully bread flake is on their menu. All ready for a good day. Well, on my third cast on a piece of bread flake, just started to get my first little indications on the tip. Tap, tap, tap. Using a link ledger, so I've got four swan shot on. That's the only weight on there, and I'm just flicking it out in the current, just short of the overhanging tree, which is a good feature for the chub to be sitting underneath. So if there's any chub about, that's exactly where they're going to be. So I'm trying to get as near as I can to the snags as possible, because that's where they'll be sitting. And it's quite encouraging that I've had little taps already. Might be just small fish having a little peck at the bread, but you've got to start somewhere. Let's take a look at the swim that I'm fishing today. To my left up there is some rapids, because it shallows right up. There's a lot of boulders and stones, so the river quickly passes over it and then picks up a bit of speed into this swim that I'm fishing, which is like a bit of a bowl. Sort of round about this area. It's quite deep. You've got probably about 5 or 6 foot, and on the far bank, running across there, a very fast run through, and then underneath my feet it sort of backs up on itself, and it's actually like a whirlpool effect. So it's going down that far bank, obviously hitting the branches over there, and whipping round, and it's backing up on itself. And then sort of round about there is where I'm casting my bread flake, in the hope that the chub will be sitting just underneath that overhanging tree there. Lovely looking swim, must admit, and it screams fish. I say, the temperature has dropped these last 2 or 3 days. We had really mixed weather. I think next week it's supposed to be creeping back up to sort of around about 20 degrees during the day. I think today 17, sort of by mid-afternoon it's going to be up to about 17. It was that cold this morning. I had to stick the old beanie out on. Whether that'll stay on all day, I don't know. I'll probably put my sun hat on a bit later. But yeah, autumn's on its way, and that means winter's not too far away as well. My favourite times of the fishing season. So that means there'll be lots of fishing tail films coming up. Lots of videos on various fish, grayling, roach, chub, and anything else that swims. Perch, of course, goes without saying. Do like my perch fishing in the winter. But today, let's concentrate on today and trying to catch a chub. I brought a nice little selection of hook baits with me. Started off with pieces of bread, little bread flake, that I've made up some cheese paste, which I shall be giving that a try. I'm just going to give that a little bit of extra kneading. I've got some hemp for feeding. I always empty the tins in a bag, keep tins away from the riverbank. Got some, swim stim dynamite ready to use paste, red krill. Might try that a bit later. And actually at the moment I've got 2 pieces of original meat in there, so they're like about 12mm size, and I've got 2 pieces on a size 8 hook at the moment. And talking of hooks, that's the hook pattern that I'm using, but in a size 8. It's the Coram Specimen microbarbed, very, very strong hook. And hopefully that'll do the business today. Now, as well as feeding hemp out in the swim, I'll also be feeding some pellet, all different sizes in there. That's the meaty pellet, which will complement when I'm using meat on the hook. So to get a bit of feed and some scent and some smell into the water. Hopefully get those taste buds going for those chub. Before I cast out, let's have a look at the tackle that I'm using today. I've got my Dower bait runner, the GSBR LT5000C, lovely reel with the bait runner facility. That's loaded with 8 pounds Dower sensor line, and then I'm using my good old Gray's Prodigy TX, the 12-foot specialist twin tip, and loaded or inserted at the end is a 2.5 ounce tip. And looking at the terminal tackle, Like I said, I was using a link ledger. 2 gripper stops on there, so I could slide the link ledger up and down if I want to use a longer tail, and then down to. So slippery this swim, I'm absolutely covered in mud already. And there's 2 pieces of meat there on a size 8 hook that I showed you a little bit earlier. Simple but very effective, but only if those chub are feeding. We shall see. Go. Piece of flake pressed against the hook shank. You can see the hook there pointing through. Let's see if those chub are down there. Well, I thought I'd try a big bunch of maggots there, and tip went wanging around, bouncing about, and had this roach. So it's my first fish of the day. There's a little fat river, well, not big anyway, but a little plump roach. Lovely. Well, after that roach, put another big bunch of maggots on, and along come this perch. So I'll give it another 2 or 3 casts with the maggot, and if I'm still catching roach and perch, however nice it is to catch them, I'll go back on a bigger bait. Lovely fish though. Good old perch. Well, I've just had another perch, a smaller perch, and I did bring some worms along with me, so if there's some perch in the area, I'm going to try slip one of these on. You never know, might get me a bigger perch. I know I'm here for the chub, but chub like worms as well, so I'm leaving all my options open here. I mean, if I got a chance to catch a big perch, or even a big roach on a big lobworm, or dendrobina, I'm certainly not going to pass it over, that's for sure. So I put a lobworm on, or small dendrobina I should say, and let's see what happens. You've got to be in it to win it, as they say. Well, I put a much bigger, changed the bait to a worm, and caught a bigger fish, a bigger perch. So I'm quite happy with that. Stick another worm on, because it could be a few of them down. That's the 3rd perch I've had now after that roach. And what lovely colours they are they've got, haven't they? They're out the old river perch. Fantastic looking fish. This fella's probably never ever been caught before. Just pop him back, to grow even bigger. That's a nice surprise for today. Lovely. This swim is looks lovely out there, which is the important part, but on the bank, because it's at a slight slope, and it's where the rivers, obviously, after the rainfalls come up and flooded all this area, it's so slippery. I mean, I'm absolutely smothered in mud. I'm slipping around all over the place. I just got to make sure I don't fall in. Yeah, it's like fishing on a ski slope of mud at the moment. But I don't care because I'm catching some fish. I haven't obviously caught the chub I'm after yet. It's still early, and I must admit I've gone off on a little bit of a tangent catching those 3 perch after that roach. Switched over to the dendrobina worm. But I must admit it does look a really perchy swim. I've fished it before, and the way it's quite like a deep hole when it moves around, and definitely think I'll be coming back here in the winter with some big old lobworms, a few maggots, and a big old bobber float, and let it work its way around and see if I can get some big perch. I've never really given it a go on this section of the river for the perch. I've had them sort of over the pound. Got a bite then. I've had them over the pound on maggots, sort of fishing for the roach. So it would be good. There's lots of them, you know, over the last few trips that I've had here. I've always managed to get a few perch, so there's no reason why there's not a few big ones swimming about. And the only way to find that is fish for them, and that's what I'm going to do. Chub have got to be about that. There must be. It's good fun. I'm enjoying it. It was a wise choice to bring a selection of baits. There's definitely something nibbling away at that worm down there. At least I know there's fish down there. That's what it's all about. A lovely way to spend a Saturday morning by the river. It was what, 3 degrees when I was walking across the field. And, so I've got my winter coat on, beanie out on. Just how I like it. I like to wrap up on those cold days fishing. That's what fishing's all about to me. Well, it's warmed up a little bit now, so took the beanie off, put my summer cap on, because it looks like that sun's going to come out. Took my winter coat off as well. It's the thing with the autumn is you get those cold starts, and then as the day progresses you sort of warm up until you get right into the depth of autumn. Not really happening on the bread flake, so I might change back over to naturals again and give that a go back on the worms, put sort of 2 or 3 bunches of worms on, because if there is chub down there, there's certainly grab hold of that, and you never know if could be a bit even bigger perch down there, and we all know that perch love worms. It's worth a go. gudgeon on 6 white maggots on a size 8 hook. Greedy little boy. Well, the chubbers ever are playing hard to get. Going all through the baits, bread flake, meat, worm, which is getting me indications, but that's probably perch, smaller fish. 6 big maggots on, 6 white maggots, which I'm going to persevere with. And every now and then I'll get like a wrap round. But catching the chub out of this stretch seems to be getting harder and harder. I just hope that they're still about, right in the numbers that they used to be. So you come down here and actually guarantee catching 3 or 4 chub. Just get the little knocks there. But missed that. Really, I'm waiting for that proper sort of pull round. It can be a frustrating section of the river, this. And if the rain holds off, we'll have a good little winter campaign on here. Because it may fish better then. Didn't get on it last year or the year before. It was right up the bank and unfishable. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that all us river anglers can get out and have a decent winter campaign on the rivers. I do hope so. But with October fast approaching, that means the course fishing opens up on the grayling waters, like the Test and the Itchen, and that's exactly where I'll be heading off down with the cameras for fishing tail films. So stay tuned, keep in touch, and the best way to do that is to subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel, you may not know that I'm trying to reach a goal of trying to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and it's creeping up and up. I'm just under, I think it's about 190 I need now, maybe a little less than that. So thank you to everyone that's been supporting the channel. Your support does mean a lot, and hopefully I'll be able to reach my goal, which would be great if I can. So 2,000 subscribers by the end of this year. And if you like the videos, please subscribe. It's free to do, doesn't cost anything, and it certainly helps YouTube to push the channel out there more, and just want to reach more anglers out there that enjoy this type of fishing. So I like to do a variety of fishing, variety of species, variety of methods. So I'm sure there's some videos for everyone. Well, I've been fishing for about, I would say, 3.5, 4 hours now, and I'm getting a little bit impatient, and I keep looking at that nice flow, and there the swim backs up on itself a bit. So I've slung the tip rod up the bank. I brought me 15-foot float master, just set it up. I've got a Dave Harrell Specie stick on, 8 number 4, which is basically 4BB. I've evenly spread the number 4s out down the line. I've got about sort of 5.5 foot just come off the bottom, because it's quite snaggy down there as well. And I'm going to trot through a bit of bread flake, some maggots, obviously I've got worms as well, and give that a go. I want to be a bit more active sitting here nodding off, and I thought, well, I haven't had a week at work to come here and nod off, so I want to be active, and there's no better way than running a stick float through the swim. So let's see what happens, and fingers crossed. We'll just switch over to the stick float. It's produced 4 fish so far, all small of course, although the last one was a nice plump roach it's probably about 5 or 6 inches long. I've just popped it in the keep net, just put the keep net out just to bite it. The other first two fish were oblique, and then I had a gudgeon. And I was just thinking to myself about, because I've got it's an 8 number 4 float, as I mentioned earlier, spread out, but I might have to bulk the shots down towards the hook end, or at least 2.5 foot from the hook, to try and make sure the bait gets down to the bottom before the bleak can grab hold of it. But I've still got them spread out at the moment. But it's that bit where the float is now, the sort of float is round about sort of there, and the flow backs up on itself. That's the bit I'm interested in, and I reckon there could be some good fish down there. So it's a nice deep swim. It's about 5.5, maybe 6. Sort of a place where big fish could hole up. Maybe a big perch, possibly a bream, chub, roach. So I'm trying to keep the options open here. At least I'm being a bit more active in this style of fishing. There's a bite developing there. I just didn't think I was going anywhere on the tip. I was starting to find a few snags as I was getting desperate and casting nearer and nearer to the tree over there. But there's an awful lot of snags underneath there, and starting to do a couple of hook links. So change of tactics. Get the old rod out, rod and line, stick float, trot through the swim. I'm definitely on the bottom there because I just picked up a leaf. So I'm starting off in the flow, and then it sort of travels for 12 feet, and then it stops, and then starts backing up on itself. There's the river, it's like a little whirlpool going on, a mini washing machine. I've seen this swim in the flood and it absolutely bolts through here. Unfishable. So the float is starting to come back towards me now. And it's just holding in that, in the middle, like right in the sort of epicentre. Of the swim. It's just sitting there as the flow's going, moving around the float. There's got to be some decent fish there. The only downside now is that sun is starting to get onto the swim, sort of lighten it up a bit. It's feeding hemp and a few maggots, some pellet, some meaty pellet to sort of try and tempt any chub to get their heads down and start feeding. It's noticeable I've not had any chublets today, even when I was on the tip. Normally get a few chublets. It's getting quite warm now. What a difference from this morning. 3 degrees. I reckon there's a fish. I reckon it's about 15, 16 degrees now. Another small roach. Very small. Another roach, a little bit bigger. This is a much better fish. Funny bite, really was. What is it? Is it a perch? It is. It's nice to get a bend in the rod anyway. Not as big as the perch I had earlier on when I was on the tip. That took a worm, but very nice fish all the same. Funny old bite. Swallowed it, let's get the hook out. Carry on. Put a dendrobina on the, trotting it down, and started picking up some perch. There's obviously a few perch in this swim. I had a few on the tip a bit earlier. I've just had 2 on the bounce, so what a lovely looking fish. Fantastic. It's been a funny old session, I must admit. There's certainly patterns forming. Catch a few roach, then I'll catch a few perch, it goes quiet. Catch a few roach, catch a few perch, it goes quiet. The odd bleak in between. No chublets, no chub. So it's very frustrating. I think the best of the morning is now past because the sun is up quite high now, sort of late morning. I'm going to probably give it another 20 minutes or so, and if nothing really develops in that time, I'm going to call it a day. Get out of this mud. Literally I haven't stopped sliding around all day. So uncomfortable. Absolutely caked in it. My boots are caked in it. Hip and brace. Knee downwards. Smothered in mud. It's been enjoyable. And hopefully you've enjoyed the video. And if you have, please give it a like, because that helps to push the YouTube algorithms out there. And please subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, because there's lots more fishing coming up, especially when it starts getting much colder. Various venues that I'm looking forward to fishing, and different species to target. As we come out of summer into autumn, it's been a funny old summer, I must admit, fishing wise. I do prefer, like I said, the autumn, winter months, spring. I'm not a great fan of summer fishing, I must admit, because it's so unpredictable. A few sheep on the far beam looking down at me. But anyway, I'll see you again another time on Fishing Tail Films.